Her hands trembled as she typed the message that would change everything. Sorry to bother you. I know it's been years, but I don't know what else to do. My baby's hungry. I just need a can of formula. What Zara didn't know was that across the country, the billionaire reading those words was already ordering his pilot to turn the plane around. 3 jobs hadn't been enough. Not with Detroit's rising rent. Not with a premature baby who needed special formula. Not with the layoff notice still crumpled in her coat pocket. The refrigerator door closed on emptiness for the 3rd time, as if checking again might magically produce food. Her daughter's cries grew louder, more desperate. Zara's finger hovered over the send button. Logan Pierce, the man she'd worked for years ago. Now his face graced magazine covers. His name synonymous with pharmaceutical innovation and ruthless business tactics. Would he even remember her? Would he care? Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. She hit send, then cried. 30 minutes later, over Alaska, Logan stared at her message. His executive team debated market projections while he read those 17 words again. The people in his life never asked for so little. Somehow, they made it feel bigger than all the partnerships, galas, and hollow praise combined. He remembered her, the nanny who'd seen him at his lowest, who'd sit quietly in his study during his darkest days. The woman whose gentle smile had stopped him from swallowing a bottle of pills after his company's first major failure. "Is everything all right, sir?" his assistant asked, noticing his prolonged silence. Logan stood up, walked to the cockpit, and said 4 words, "Turn this plane around." The memory flashed. Zara in his kitchen 3 years ago, laughing as she prepared his dinner. The way her dress hugged curves he shouldn't have noticed. The forbidden attraction he'd never acted on. Now she needed him. As Zara put down her phone, expecting nothing, Logan Pierce was already 35,000 feet above Alaska, making a decision that would collide their worlds once again. Have you ever reached out to someone from your past in a moment of desperation? Comment below what pushed you to that breaking point. Was it for yourself or someone you love? And would you have sent that message if you knew how completely it would change your life? The look on his executive team's faces when Logan Pierce uttered, "Turn this plane around," was worth more than the $3 million meeting they were about to miss. Shock, confusion, and thinly veiled frustration rippled through the cabin as the private jet banked sharply. "The Tokyo merger," his CFO began. "Can wait," Logan finished, his tone leaving no room for discussion. "Family emergency." Family. An interesting choice of words for someone whose closest relationships existed in contracts with exit clauses. Logan had built his empire on calculated decisions, not emotional ones. Pierce Pharmaceuticals dominated the market because he never blinked, never wavered, never let personal matters interfere with business. Until now. As the jet reversed course, Logan loosened his tie, closing his eyes to the disapproving glances of his team. Behind his eyelids, memories surfaced, a fever that had left him delirious 3 years ago. Zara's cool palm against his forehead, the faint vanilla scent of her perfume as she leaned over him. The gentle touch of someone who cared for him as a person, not a portfolio. His phone buzzed with Tokyo executives expressing their deep concern about the abrupt cancellation. He silenced it. "Give me everything on specialty baby formulas," he ordered his assistant. "Specifically for premature infants. And have a Detroit house prepared." "Sir, you haven't been to the Detroit property inn." "I'm aware," he cut in. "Also, I need complete background on Zara Williams, former employee, 2019 to 2020. Current address, employment status, everything." The memory of her came unbidden. The way her fingers had lingered against his when passing him coffee, the electricity that neither acknowledged. The professional boundaries he'd maintained despite wanting more. Hours compressed into action. By the time they landed in Detroit, Logan had arranged for every available can of the specialty formula to be delivered to his car, along with dossiers on Zara's current situation. 3 lost jobs in 6 months, an eviction notice pending, medical bills mounting. As his plane landed in Detroit, Logan realized he hadn't prepared what he'd say to the woman who had once saved his life, and had no idea she had done so. If you had billions, would you drop everything to help someone who once mattered to you? Type yes or no in the comments. What's the most impulsive decision you've ever made for someone else? Was it worth it? The knock on Zara's door came at 2 a.m. Not the time decent people visit unless something is terribly wrong or incredibly right. She froze, clutching her finally sleeping daughter against her chest. Another knock, more insistent. Her apartment wasn't in the kind of neighborhood where late-night visitors brought good news. Heart pounding, she peered through the peephole and nearly stumbled backward. Logan Pierce stood in her hallway, looking simultaneously powerful and out of place. The man for magazine covers and news clips, in a corridor with peeling paint and flickering lights. She opened the door a crack, chains still fastened. "Logan, may I come in?" His voice was exactly as she remembered. Deep, confident, tinged with that Boston accent that surfaced when he was tired. Zara unlatched the chain, hyper-aware of her faded sweatpants and unwashed hair. The contrast between them couldn't be more stark. His tailored suit probably cost more than her rent, his watch worth more than her car. He carried a large box and a smaller bag. "I brought formula. Several kinds. Actually, I wasn't sure which type she needs." The simple statement broke something in her. Tears sprang to her eyes as she stepped back, letting him into the tiny apartment that suddenly felt microscopic with his presence filling it. "How did you? Why would you?" Words failed her as he set down his offerings on her scratch coffee table. "You asked for help," he said simply, as if flying across the country with baby formula in the middle of the night was the most natural response in the world. Their fingers brushed as he handed her a can, sending a jolt of electricity through her body, recognition of an attraction neither acknowledged. His eyes caught hers, holding for a heartbeat longer than necessary. He glanced around her apartment, taking in the second-hand furniture, the makeshift nursery in the corner, the textbooks stacked beside nursing school applications. "Your daughter," he said, nodding toward the sleeping baby in her arms. "What's her name?" "Lily," Zara whispered, still processing his presence in her living room. Logan's expression softened as he looked at the child. "She has your eyes." Standing in her doorway wasn't just a man with baby formula. It was the answer to prayer she hadn't dared to voice. "What's the most unexpected visitor you've ever had? Someone who showed up when you needed them most, or someone who appeared out of nowhere from your past?" Share your story while we watch Zara's reaction to having a billionaire in her apartment at 2 a.m. "I need someone I can trust," Logan said, his voice cutting through the silence that had settled between them. "And you're the only person who's never wanted anything from me." Zara shifted Lily to her other arm, tried to process his words. She'd prepared formula with the reverence of someone handling liquid gold, feeding her daughter while Logan waited patiently, perched awkwardly on her thrift store couch. "Trust for what?" she finally asked. "My personal assistant resigned last week. Third one this year." His fingers drummed against his knee, a nervous habit she remembered from years ago. "I need someone who understands discretion, someone efficient, someone who's desperate enough to say yes to whatever you're offering." The words came out sharper than intended. His eyes met hers, unflinching. "Someone who sees me as a person, not a walking checkbook or stepping stone." You did that once. The memory hung between them. Those months when she'd worked in his house, when he'd barely emerged from his study, when rumors of his company's collapse filled the financial news. How she'd sit with him in silence some nights. No words exchanged, just presence. "I'm offering you a position. $200,000 annually. Housing included, full benefits." He stated it like reading a grocery list. "You'd manage my schedule, correspondence, travel arrangements. Your daughter would have the best care, the best schools eventually." Zara nearly choked. 200, that's the market rate for someone with your responsibilities. His gaze lingered on her lips as she struggled for words, memories flickering across his face of watching her years ago, wanting but never approaching. "Why me?" she whispered. "I have no experience, no degree, no." "Experience can be gained. Education can be acquired." His voice softened. "Trust can't be bought." Lily stirred, tiny fist waving. Logan's eyes tracked the movement with unexpected tenderness. You'd relocate to my New York penthouse. Private quarters for you and Lily, of course. He stood, smoothing his jacket. I need an answer by morning. My jet leaves at 10. The choice seemed simple. Struggle alone or accept help from a man whose world had rules she didn't understand. Either way, nothing would ever be the same. Would you accept a life-changing offer from someone you once knew? Or would you be suspicious? Comment, trust, or suspect. Have you ever taken a risk that completely changed your life path? Was it worth it in the end? Zara stepped into Logan's penthouse with her baby in one arm and everything she owned in a single suitcase. Hardly the entrance of someone about to change a billionaire's empire. The Manhattan skyline stretched beyond floor-to-ceiling windows, the city laid out like a glittering map below. "Ms. Williams has arrived, sir," announced the doorman who'd escorted her up. Logan emerged for what appeared to be a home office. Jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms corded with muscle. The casual version of him felt more intimidating than the business suit. "Your timing's perfect. Conference call just ended." He approached, glancing at the sleeping Lily. "Let me show you to your quarters." Quarters. Such a formal word for what turned out to be an entire wing of the penthouse. A master suite, nursery, sitting room, and private bathroom larger than her entire Detroit apartment. "The nursery's temporary," Logan explained, watching her face as she took in the hand-painted murals, custom crib, and monitoring system. "I had it put together yesterday. We can redecorate to your preferences." Yesterday, he'd decided to hire her, prepared a home for her child, all before she'd even said yes. The confidence bordered on arrogance. Words failed her. "Adequate," he supplied, misreading her overwhelm. She laughed, a genuine sound that seemed to catch him off guard. "It's bigger than any home I've ever lived in." Something in his expression shifted. "I'll let you settle in. Dinner's at 7 in the main dining room. Your work orientation begins tomorrow at 9. Later, after putting Lily down in a crib worth more than a year's rent, Zara sought out the bathroom. Peeling off travel-worn clothes, she turned the shower handle, marveling at the instant hot water, a luxury her Detroit apartment never provided. She pushed open the glass door, stepping under the rainfall shower head, and yelped. Standing half-naked, towel around his waist, was Logan, apparently in what he thought was his private bathroom. Their eyes locked. Water continued running. His gaze involuntarily traced her exposed skin before he quickly turned away. I'm sorry," he stammered, grabbing his shirt. "Wrong door, connecting bathrooms, I didn't." As he hastily retreated, Zara caught her reflection in the mirror, cheeks flushed, heart racing. As she settled her baby into a nursery worth more than her lifetime earnings, Zara didn't notice the camera blinking in the corner, or the woman watching the feed with ice-cold eyes. Have you ever felt completely out of place somewhere? Drop a fish if you know what it's like to be a fish out of water. Would you adapt quickly or struggle to fit in? Share your experience while we watch Zara navigate this new luxury world. Margot Winters didn't become New York's most feared publicist by letting other women sleep under her ex-fiancé's roof, especially not beautiful single mothers with nothing to lose. She tapped manicured nails against her desk, watching the security feed from Logan's penthouse, lips pressed into a bloodless line. "Interesting development," she murmured, freezing the frame on Zara's face. "Very interesting." 3 floors below Logan's penthouse, in her own luxurious condo, Margot had maintained access to his security system. A precaution from when they'd been engaged last year. The engagement he'd ended without warning or adequate explanation. She pulled up Zara's hastily compiled background check. Detroit. Struggling single mother. Former nanny. Nothing special. So why had Logan Pierce, the man who canceled meetings with presidents, turned his plan around for her? Her phone chimed with a calendar notification. Pierce Pharmaceuticals Charity Gala. Tonight. "Perfect. This fits you perfectly," Logan said, watching Zara emerge from a room in a midnight blue gown his stylist had delivered. "Though I believe these complete the look." He opened a velvet box containing diamond earrings that caught the light like trapped stars. "I can't wear these," Zara protested. "As my assistant, you'll need to look the part." His eyes traced the curve where the dress hugged her waist. Consider it a uniform requirement. The elevator ride to the gala made Zara acutely aware of Logan's presence. His cologne, the brush of his tuxedo sleeve against her bare arm. Neither spoke, the air charged with unacknowledged tension. The ballroom sparkled with New York elite, but conversations stuttered as they entered together. Logan, a voice like honey laced with arsenic, called out, "What a surprise. You usually skip these events." Margot Winters approached, a vision in crimson, eyes assessing Zara with surgical precision. "Margot," Logan acknowledged coolly. "This is Zara Williams, my new personal assistant." Assistant. Margot's smile didn't reach her eyes. "How convenient." "Zara, Margot handles PR for the company," Logan explained, his hand finding the small of Zara's back, a protective gesture that sent electricity through her body. "Former fiancé, current PR director," Margot clarified, watching Zara's expression. "Logan didn't mention me?" What Zara didn't know about Logan and Margot's relationship wasn't just gossip. It was a time bomb waiting to destroy everything. Have you ever dealt with a jealous ex who wouldn't let go? Comment how you handled it while we see what Margot does next. Would you stand your ground or back down when facing someone determined to push you out? The boardroom fell silent as Zara walked in beside Logan. Not because she didn't belong there, but because for the first time in years, he was smiling. Not the practiced CEO smile from press conferences, but something genuine that transformed his face. Eyes followed them as they took their seats, whispers barely contained behind hands. 2 weeks as Logan's assistant had taught Zara to read the room. Curiosity, speculation, judgment. "Let's begin," Logan announced, opening the quarterly review meeting. "First, I'd like my assistant to present our new community outreach initiative." Zara froze. He hadn't mentioned any presentation. Across the table, Margot's lips curved upward, anticipating disaster. Standing on shaking legs, Zara took a deep breath. 3 years of juggling jobs while researching affordable daycare options had taught her one thing: improvisation. "Thank you, Mr. Pierce," she began, pulling up notes she'd been working on privately. "I've identified 3 key areas where Pierce Pharmaceuticals can make immediate community impact while building positive brand association." The room shifted. Executives leaned forward as Zara outlined a program targeting low-income neighborhoods with medical support, scholarship opportunities, and workforce development. Most importantly, she concluded, these initiatives cost less than our current PR budget while generating triple the goodwill. The math is simple. Logan's expression remained neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. Approval, perhaps pride. "Bold proposal," said the CFO, impressed despite himself. "Quite," Margot interjected. "Though perhaps Ms. Williams doesn't understand the complexities of pharmaceutical public relations." "Actually," Zara countered, "as someone who couldn't afford medicine for her child despite working 3 jobs, I understand exactly how your target demographic perceives this company." Silence fell again, heavier this time. Later, alone in the elevator, the tension between Zara and Logan thickened. The confined space heightened her awareness of him, his breathing, the slight brush of his arm against hers. "You didn't tell me I'd be presenting," she said quietly. "I wanted to see how you'd handle pressure." His voice dropped lower. "You exceeded expectations." The elevator stopped between floors, lights flickering momentarily. "Perfect timing," he muttered, loosening his tie. They stood inches apart, the air electric between them. As Logan's pharmaceutical company prepared to launch its biggest product yet, Zara discovered files that made her blood run cold and made her question everything she thought she knew about the man she was falling for. If you've ever been underestimated professionally, type "Watch me win" in the comments. Zara's about to show everyone what she's made of. Have you ever shocked people with abilities they didn't know you had? The formula that saved Zara's baby wasn't just rare. According to the files she found hidden in Logan's office, it wasn't supposed to exist at all. She stared at the monitor, hands trembling as she scrolled through test results, emails, and meeting minutes. She'd been searching for budget files he'd asked her to organize when a folder labeled Project Lily caught her eye. the same name as her daughter. Coincidence seemed unlikely. The documents told a disturbing story. Pierce Pharmaceuticals had developed a breakthrough formula for premature infants 2 years ago, then buried it. Marketing analysis showed higher profits in keeping their standard formula as the only option. The new formula that could have saved countless babies had been shelved. Except somehow, Logan had given it to her. The exact formula sitting in her nursery right now. The office door opened. Zara quickly closed the files, heart hammering. Working late, Logan asked, jacket off, sleeves rolled up. Just finishing the budget reports, she lied, unable to meet his eyes. He approached her desk, standing too close. You seem distracted today. Just tired, she managed, all too aware of his proximity, the scent of his cologne mixing with the faint whiskey on his breath. Lily keeping you up? His voice softened at her daughter's name. The same name as his secret project. Logan, she began, pulse racing. Why did you really hire me? His eyes darkened. I told you. I needed someone I could trust. And you trust me? She pushed. Someone you barely know? I know enough. He leaned closer, his hand brushing hers on the desk, sending unwanted electricity through her body. More than you think. What does that mean? She whispered. Instead of answering, he reached past her to close her laptop, his arm grazing her shoulder. For a moment, their faces were inches apart, tension crackling between them. It means, he said quietly, that some questions are better left unasked. He pulled back abruptly, the moment broken. Go home, Zara. Get some rest. She gathered her things, mind racing. At the door, she turned. Project Lily. Is that a coincidence? His expression hardened. Good night, Ms. Williams. When a knock came at her door at midnight, Zara expected Logan with explanations. Instead, she found Margot holding photographs that changed everything. Would you confront someone you're growing to care about if you discovered they might be hiding something dark? Comment, confront, or investigate while we see what Zara decides. Have you ever discovered someone wasn't who you thought they were? He hired you because he killed your husband, Margot said, tossing the photos onto Zara's bed. Not because he cares about you or your baby. Zara stared at the images scattered across her comforter. Her husband Michael in a clinical trial uniform. Logan shaking Michael's hand. Medical charts with both their names. That's impossible, she whispered. Michael died in a car accident. After leaving a Pierce Pharmaceuticals clinical trial, Margot corrected perfectly manicured nail, tapping one photo. A trial that Logan personally oversaw, testing a drug they knew had dangerous side effects. Effects like sudden blackouts. The room seemed to tilt. Michael's accident had been attributed to falling asleep at the wheel. No alcohol, no drugs in his system, just unexplained unconsciousness. The police report was carefully managed, Margot finished. Logan has friends in many departments. Zara's throat tightened. Why tell me this? Margot's smile never reached her eyes. Let's call it women looking out for each other. He's using you to ease his guilt. That formula, Zara began. The one that saved your baby? The one he conveniently had ready after you texted? Ask yourself why a CEO personally handles discontinued products. Each word landed like a blow. The midnight text. The plane turnaround. The job offer. The nursery prepared in advance. He's been watching you for months, Margot continued. Tracking your struggle. Waiting for the perfect moment to swoop in. Classic Logan. Creating dependence to avoid accountability. Zara clutched the bedpost for support. Get out. Think about it, Margot said, heading for the door. Why would a billionaire care about a random single mother unless he had something to hide? After Margot left, Zara packed frantically, tears blurring her vision. A sound at the door made her turn. Logan stood there, expression darkening as he took in the half-filled suitcase. Going somewhere, his voice was dangerously quiet. Did you kill my husband? The words burst from her. He crossed the room in 3 strides, gripping her wrists. Their bodies pressed together, his eyes blazing with an emotion she couldn't name. Is that what she told you? His breath was warm against her face, their proximity sending unwanted heat through her despite her anger. Tell me you didn't know. Zara whispered, tears streaming down her face. Tell me you didn't bring me here because you felt guilty about killing the father of my child. If someone told you shocking information about someone you trust, would you believe them immediately? Type proof first if you demand evidence. Have you ever been caught between two conflicting stories? Who did you believe? Logan's silence lasted 5 seconds, the exact amount of time it takes for someone's world to completely fall apart. 5 seconds where Zara watched his face, searching for denial, for outrage at the accusation, for anything but what she saw, recognition. Michael Williams, he finally said, releasing her wrists and stepping back. Clinical trial participant, 2021. Yes, I knew your husband. The confirmation hit harder than any physical blow could have. Zara's knees weakened, forcing her to sit on the edge of the bed. So everything, the job, the apartment, Lily's formula, it was all guilt? Her voice sounded distant, detached. Not guilt, Logan insisted, running a hand through his hair. Responsibility. You're responsible for his death. The words hung between them, heavy and accusing. The trial wasn't supposed to. He stopped, reorganizing his thoughts. The side effects weren't documented properly. By the time you realized, my husband was dead and my daughter would never meet her father. Zara stood, rage giving her strength. Was turning your plane around just another way to sleep better at night? It wasn't like that, Logan insisted, moving toward her. Despite her anger, her body betrayed her, responding to his proximity with unwanted warmth. His fingers brushed her arm, and she hated herself for the shiver that ran through her. Don't touch me, she whispered, pulling away. Zara, listen to me. Michael's death was an accident, but not in the way Margot told you. The trial was tampered with. Someone wanted that drug to fail. Convenient explanation, she spat. I've been investigating for 2 years. That's why I developed the formula for Lily, using research Michael helped pioneer before he died. So, I'm what? Your research project? Your redemption story? You're the wife of a man who was murdered under my watch. His voice cracked. A man who saved countless babies with his work, including your daughter. Zara shook her head, tears falling freely now. I can't do this. I can't look at you without seeing him. Margot is playing you, Logan warned. This isn't about protecting you. It's about destroying me. Maybe you deserve destruction, Zara whispered, turning away to finish packing. As Zara slipped out of the penthouse at dawn with her baby, she didn't realize she was walking straight into Margot's carefully laid trap, one that would put both her and her child in mortal danger. Have you ever had your trust completely broken by someone you were falling for? Share your experience in the comments. Would you listen to their explanation or walk away without looking back? What would it take for you to trust them again? The headline flashed across every screen in the country. Billionaire's assistant steals confidential files, $50 million bounty offered. Zara's face stared back at her from the taxi's dashboard screen. Her name splashed beneath a security camera image taken from Logan's office. Hey, ain't that you? The driver asked, eyeing her in the rearview mirror. Zara pulled her hood lower, clutching Lily closer to her chest. No, she whispered. Just looks like me. The motel she'd checked into was the kind that didn't ask questions when she paid cash. The kind with rust-stained sinks and sheets that smelled of too much bleach. A far cry from the penthouse she'd fled 6 hours earlier. Her phone buzzed constantly, news alerts, social media notifications, texts from unknown numbers offering to split the reward if she turned herself in. The news claimed she'd stolen proprietary formulas worth billions, trade secrets that would destroy Pierce Pharmaceuticals if released. All lies. She'd taken nothing except her daughter and her dignity. The television droned in the background, financial analysts discussing the devastating blow to Pierce Pharmaceutical stock. Security footage showed Zara at Logan's computer, footage she knew had been doctored. She'd never accessed those files. Ms. Williams is believed to be working with overseas competitors, a stern-faced reporter announced. Sources close to Mr. Pierce suggest industrial espionage has been her goal from the beginning. Zara laughed bitterly. Her goal from the beginning had been keeping her daughter alive, not bringing down a pharmaceutical empire. Her phone rang. Logan's number. She declined to call. Lying on the scratchy bedspread, she closed her eyes, remembering the heat of his body against hers during their confrontation, the intensity in his eyes when he'd gripped her wrists. Even now, angry and betrayed, her body responded to the memory, a flush spreading across her skin. She cursed herself for the reaction. The man had lied about everything, possibly caused her husband's death, and now framed her as a corporate spy. Yet a nagging doubt remained. The Logan who turned his plane around didn't match the monster Margot described. When the motel door burst open, Zara clutched her baby close, ready to face arrest, but instead found Logan, bloody and desperate. "They have the formula," he gasped. "Without it, your baby has 48 hours. If you were framed for something you didn't do, would you run or stay and fight? Comment, run, or fight while we see Zara's choice. Has anyone ever tried to ruin your reputation? How did you defend yourself when everyone seemed ready to believe the worst? Nothing forces enemies together like a countdown clock on a child's life." Logan's words hung in the dingy motel room. 48 hours. Zara's maternal instinct overrode everything else. Anger, betrayal, confusion. "What do you mean they have the formula?" she demanded, checking Lily's forehead for fever. The baby slept peacefully, unaware of the crisis. "Margot replaced your supply with standard formula." Logan pressed a tissue to his split lip. "The specialty components your daughter needs, they're being held at a company warehouse. Access requires my biometrics, which I can't provide now that I've been." He gestured to his bloodied face. "Beaten up," Zara finished, reluctantly grabbing a washcloth to clean his wounds. "Removed SEO," he corrected. "The board voted me out an hour ago. Margot's people control the company now." Zara's hand stilled against his face. "You expect me to believe Margot orchestrated all this? The woman has everything. Why would she care about me or my baby? Because taking you down was the easiest way to take me down." Logan winced as she dabbed his cut. "And taking me down gives her complete control of Project Lily." The washcloth came away red. Despite everything, Zara felt a pang seeing him injured. "Why should I trust you?" she whispered. "You shouldn't." His eyes met hers. "But Lily doesn't have a choice." The safe house Logan brought them to was a sparse apartment in Brooklyn. No doorman, no security cameras, nothing that screamed billionaire. One bedroom, barely furnished. "We'll need to share the room," he said, setting up a makeshift crib for Lily. "I'll take the floor." The confined space made avoiding each other impossible. Each brush of shoulders, each accidental touch, as they prepared Lily's remaining formula, reignited the unwanted awareness between them. Night fell. Lily slept. In the darkness, Zara finally asked the question burning inside her. "Did you know who I was when I texted you?" Logan's voice came from a spot on the floor. "Yes." "For how long?" "I've had people watching you since Michael died, making sure you were okay." "That's creepy, not comforting. I promised him I'd take care of you both if anything happened." Zara sat up. "You what?" As Logan finally revealed the truth about his connection to her husband's death, Zara realized with horror that Margot's plan wasn't just about ruining Logan. It was about using her baby to approve a deadly drug that would kill thousands. Have you ever had to work with someone you couldn't stand for a greater purpose? Drop a stopwatch if you know what it's like to put differences aside when time is running out. Would you trust someone who lied to you if your child's life depended on it? "Your husband didn't die because of my negligence," Logan said, voice breaking. "He died trying to expose Margot's plan to fake drug trial results. I've been trying to finish what he started." The confession poured out in the darkness of the safe house. Michael Williams hadn't been just another trial participant. He'd been a planted investigator. A former chemist turned whistleblower who discovered Margot's scheme to push through an unsafe but highly profitable drug by manipulating test data. "Michael approached me privately," Logan explained. "We set up a fake identity for him to join the trial from inside. Then his car crashed the night before he was supposed to meet with the FDA." Zara's mind reeled. "The blackouts weren't from your drug?" "They were induced," Logan said grimly. "Targeted only at him. We didn't realize Margot had discovered his real identity. Dawn broke as Logan pulled out his phone, showing her encrypted messages between himself and Michael. Plans, meeting notes, evidence logs. Her husband's words, his determination to protect patients even at personal risk. Why didn't you tell me from the beginning? Zara demanded. Would you have believed me? Or would you have thought I was making excuses? Logan's eyes found hers in the half-light. I wanted to earn your trust first. By hiding the truth. By showing you who I really am. His voice dropped. Not the CEO, not the billionaire. Just the man who promised your husband I'd keep you both safe. And failed. The weight of truth settled between them as Lily stirred in her makeshift crib. Time was running out. We need to get into that warehouse, Zara said, shifting to action mode. How tight is security? Very, but I know a back way in. Their fingers brushed as they leaned over building schematics, the contact sending electricity through both of them. The heightened emotions, fear, urgency, newfound understanding, broke down walls neither had intended to lower. Zara, Logan whispered, inches from her face. If something happens to me. She cut him off, pressing her lips to his in a kiss born of desperation, fear, and something deeper neither was ready to name. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her against him as the kiss deepened, years of restraint dissolving in seconds. With the formula recovered and the truth in their hands, they thought they'd won, until Zara's phone rang with Margot's voice. Congratulations on the evidence. Too bad you'll never make it to the FBI alive. If you discovered someone you misjudged was actually trying to help you all along, how would you make it right? Share your thoughts while we see Zara's reaction. Have you ever misjudged someone's intentions and later regretted it? The pharmaceutical company's rooftop helipad wasn't meant for standoffs between two women, one with nothing to lose, the other with everything to protect. Yet here they stood, 30 stories above Manhattan, wind whipping hair and clothing as a helicopter waited with spinning blades. You should have stayed in Detroit, Margot called over the rotor noise, gun steady in her manicured hand. Poor single mother was a good look on you. Zara stood her ground, evidence flash drive clutched in her palm. Better than corporate murder. Behind Margot, two security guards held Logan, blood trickling from a fresh wound on his temple. His eyes locked with Zara's, communicating a silent warning. Don't provoke her. Where's the baby? Margot asked, scanning the rooftop. Safe, Zara answered. With people who know to release everything if I don't return. Margot laughed, the sound lost in the helicopter noise. Clever. The desperate mother learned strategy. She gestured with the gun. But unnecessary. I'm not a monster, Zara. I'm a businesswoman. The formula your daughter needs? It'll be mass-produced once Novavax launches. Thousands of babies saved. After thousands die from the side effects you covered up. Acceptable losses in the larger calculation. That's how medicine advances. The gun remained pointed at Zara's heart as Margot extended her other hand. The drive for your daughter's future. Simple exchange. Logan struggled against his captors. Zara, don't. A memory flashed. Logan's desperate arrival at her motel, his protection throughout their escape, the revelation of her husband's true role. The kiss they'd shared in the darkness, full of promise and regret. My husband died for this truth, Zara said, stepping forward. What kind of mother would I be if I buried it to save my own child? Margot's smile faltered. A practical one. No, a coward. Zara took another step, and Michael didn't marry a coward. The flash drive gleamed in the sunlight as she held it up. Behind Margot, Logan renewed his struggle, breaking free from one guard's grip. Last chance, Margot warned, finger tightening on the trigger. As Margot aimed the gun at Zara's heart, the helicopter lights illuminated not fear in her eyes, but the quiet strength that had first made Logan turn his plane around. What lengths would you go to for justice? Type whatever IT takes if you believe some fights are worth any sacrifice. Have you ever faced a moment where you had to choose between what was right and what was safe? 6 months after the headlines about whistleblower heroine takes down pharmaceutical giant, Zara still wasn't used to the way Logan looked at her across the breakfast table, like she was the fortune he'd spent his life searching for. Sunlight streamed through the windows of their Upper West Side apartment, catching on her simple wedding band as she fed Lily, now a healthy, thriving 1-year-old. The FBI raid on Pierce Pharmaceuticals had uncovered everything. Margot's data manipulation, the targeted elimination of whistleblowers including Michael, the buried research that could have saved countless lives. The helicopter standoff ended not with violence, but with justice. Federal agents emerging from the stairwell, just as Margot prepared to fire. Now, the company operated under new leadership, with Logan serving as chairman of the board's ethics committee. The specialty formula flowed freely to NICUs across the country, bearing the name, the Williams Protocol, in Michael's honor. The foundation review is at 11, Logan reminded her, passing a coffee mug across the table, their fingers lingering in the exchange. The Michael Williams Transparency Initiative, her brainchild, funded by Logan's fortune, now advocated for clinical trial participants' rights and pharmaceutical accountability. Her husband's legacy transformed from tragedy to triumph. "I've been thinking," Zara said, setting Lily in her playpen, "about changing my last name legally." Now that we're married, Logan looked up, surprised. They'd kept her name unchanged for the foundation work, maintaining the connection to Michael's legacy. "You don't have to," he said carefully. "I understand." She moved around the table, slipping onto his lap with practiced ease. "Michael gave me my past. You're my future." Her lips met his in a kiss that still held the electricity of their first, yet carried the comfort of shared history. His hands traced familiar paths along her body, desire building between them as it did each morning, each night. Their passion had been forged in crisis, but flourished in peace. Later, as they walked through Central Park, Lily babbling happily in her stroller, Logan squeezed Zara's hand. "I turn my plane around for you every day," he said quietly. "And I always will." She once texted a billionaire begging for baby formula. Now she ran his company's conscience. Sometimes the most desperate message leads to the most powerful answer. If you enjoyed this journey of struggle, betrayal, and redemption, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for our next story. What would you have done in Zara's position? The most interesting comment will be featured in our next video. Has a desperate moment in your life ever led to an unexpected blessing?